Okay, Gabby. So taking a look through your portfolio, one of the poems that I think that you should continue to work on is your truth poem. I think it could be really powerful. Don't worry about what the original assignment was. Don't worry about any of that. Right now, it's just about let's find something cool to write about and kind of see where it takes you. Um, I would start the poem with a child was nudged over the edge, but I said he had fallen. Um, I think the whole sort of like you're sort of confessing something. I mean, I'm assuming this isn't really you, but you're sort of confessing something, but then you say what you tell people, as opposed to what happened. And then I would start with a poem there, and then kind of see where it takes you. You could get into the notion of what you do with that truth that you just confessed to your reader. You could also, I think like thinking about like how that truth resurfaces over time, whether it be like certain sounds or certain smells, or you run into that kid again later. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of potential there, but I think the most compelling part of the poem are those two lines where you actually sort of confess what it is. And then the other one that I thought you might want to work on is the Chicago poem. I like that you're writing about a city that's sort of an atypical thing for teenagers to write about, so I like your subject. Um, though I would say something that you're doing right now is you're kind of taking how people see Chicago as opposed to what it's like to actually be in Chicago, or to live in Chicago. So right now it sounds like a tourist wrote it, and I think that if you're going to write about a city, you need to show us something that tourists miss. You need to show us something um, new about the city that we don't normally see, and it might change the way, next time I go to Chicago, I'm going to look for this thing that you're noting or bringing forward. Um, Again, I think I told you in class when you read it out loud that the buildings grow. That was like a nice little line that you had in there. The notion of the buildings growing and not just the people. But the rest of it does feel a little touristy, and it feels like an outsider wrote it, but it seems like it's from the point of view of an outsider who doesn't think they're an outsider. So you kind of need to play with this a little bit more. If I can't remember if you said that you lived in Chicago or not, but if you did, then you need to make it more from the insider perspective of what only insiders know about Chicago. Or if it really is just like you're an outsider, but you really like Chicago, we need to see some really specific moment where you sort of become an insider or something like that. Because right now um, it feels a little superficial in the sense of it's really looking at Chicago on the surface, rather than what's underneath it.